Redlands does too.
Lot of new development there though, but they did it consistent with their old town patterns.
Right.
Well,
Okay,
sure ain't Winchester.
I had a question on
Okay.
mixed land development.
Yeah.
Because maybe a lot of people don't know what it means, and it means that they can render the zoning of your property to anything that suits them. Pay attention to the general plans of your cities. In these you will find how they envision they will destroy your property value and force you to give it up or sell at marginal rates.
Thank you.
That's what they're doing, my friend.
Perfect city.
All over the place.
I'm sorry?
I say, how about Winchester? It's perfect the way it is.
Okay.
One line is enough.
Yep.
Here, here.
You know, if that's the consensus of the group, then this is going to be a real short process.
But that's why people moved here, to get away from the malls and the traffic and the congestion.
I
So
don't think you understand what all the approvals that have occurred in this valley in the last 10, 15 years.
Maybe you should.
You haven't seen them yet, and we're going to go through those. And there's a bunch of them. So you're going to have the traffic, you're going to have the freeway. Highway 79 is going to be realigned. It's going to become literally a freeway in the future. So, you know, we'll get into that too. So those things are in motion.
well, it's good to have a road to get here.
It is. Okay, what do you think will differentiate the community of Winchester from other communities and make it unique and a great place to live?
Its name.
Its name, it is a great name.
Its name.
Yeah.
Destination point, because Metrolink will be on the line. There's a station considered for Winchester.
That's it.
And you could have a
Transit.
community, but you could have a destination point depending if what happens with certain areas south of town, if Met does really have their way and put a solar farm, or if they indeed keep their promise and keep recreation there.
I saw a hand up in the
Yeah, I would, to answer question number 8, I just have to say proactive planning.
Yes.
The biggest example of not planning where you're going would be Sunnyview.
Yeah.
What
Thornhill
happens
Valley.
there?
Right about it.
I mean, and that's, if we don't confront these issues now, and I know there's some skepticism here, but here's the alternative. We just leave things the way they are, and I'm going to tell you, it's just going to keep urbanizing. So we're here, I think Jeff and the county hired me to come in and to try to see how the residents felt about the direction they wanted to take the community. So if the community direction is rural, it'll be what's left in the general plan.
I was just saying, because these gentlemen mentioned that about the train coming in and all the good things that come with it. Well, we got the lake in, and there was supposed to be skiing and hotels and this and that, and all this stuff was supposed to
Not
come
there.
in.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, sometimes
That's
that
gone.
kind of seems like a batch of bull to me, you know?
Well, I agree with you there.
Well,
That was a big discussion by Metropolitan back in 10 years ago.
Question on the train. You're talking about bringing light rail in here.
Commuter rail.
Commuter rail.
Commuter rail, all right?
Metrolink.
To update it for passenger service is going to cost $1 million a mile.
It
May
didn't
take
cost
20
that
years
much
to do it.
Make it 30 years.
Maybe take 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, look, we're looking out 20 years, guys. I'm not talking about tomorrow. I'm not talking about 5 years. We're talking 20 years out.
They're already coming to Paris.
Yeah, Paris just got completed. That's a link. It's supposed to come through here and go to Hemet, and it's supposed to go down to Temecula, which will probably happen in about 50 years. Okay, let's
but we'll
move
be able
on.
to get to Vegas tomorrow.
Obviously, mixed-use development we'll be talking about when we get into the
Thanks to
downtown
Jerry
area.
Brown.
There are very few areas where you can have it work because it's more of a downtown type of development. Strip commercial development, an alternative to compact patterns. What I'm talking about is either having discrete areas where you have commercial in areas that are well defined, or stripping out along the highways. So we'll get into that a little bit more when we talk about. There are some constraints already, because when the Highway 79 is actually fully improved, there's a lot of limited access to the freeway, to what will be the freeway. So that's going to limit a lot of the retail, the commercial retail. So what you'll have to do is look at areas that are opportunities to have some retail at what I call major intersections. So those would be Dominagoni and 79. Then the other issue we've got is the whole realignment, which we'll get into. So let's move on. Strong rural Western heritage. Is it important to preserve and build on this tradition? Develop strategies to protect it. I'm hearing from some people that it is.
You're defining it as a Western heritage, which it is not.
Right.
Winchester was never a Western town. It was a Methodist religious town and a farming town.
Okay.
If you're going to keep a Western theme according to history, etc., you're going to have rundown shacks, wooden buildings falling down, and maybe, if you're lucky, a brick building in the corner and an old hotel.
We've got that now. Except for the hotel.
Well, the hotel's long gone, but I think you have to look at your heritage more as a traditional farming community. Yes, rural, but yet farming. That is the real history of Winchester, and again, the Methodist Church.
How did it get the name Winchester?
A young lady came into town and helped develop the community, and you had three choices: Riceville, Millerville, or name it after Amy Winchester.
Winchester and Vale did all of the survey.
Who did?
Winchester and Vale did the survey for this part of Southern California.
Amy Winchester had no Winchester had any surveying experience in this. It was Mr. Pearson and others.
United States government.
Guys, I'm sorry, I've got to move us along because we've got to get into some big issues. Okay, how important is, I'm hearing from some people that they think that industry and jobs should be somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that people should commute to their jobs.
Yeah.
Is that what I'm hearing?
You're not hearing that.
No.
I know. I'm trying to stimulate some discussion because gas is going to only keep going up, guys. I think you might want to think about this one and try to get some jobs locally.
You have a railroad track and a major freeway coming through that will lead yourself to having something of some kind of a jobs.
On the northwest side of the community.
Northwest side of the community.
Northwest side from Winchester Road all the way down to Briggs.
Yeah.
In that area, up back in there, isn't there light development for commercial and industrial back in that area?
Yeah, we'll get into it. You talking about over here where the red is?
Yeah.
Leon?
Right there?
Leon?
Now that's Briggs right there.
Oh,
and there's commercial up along 74. Huh?
All the way over to Winchester Road in the back area up there.
Well, wherever you see red on this map is commercial. I have a better map that we'll get to a little later because we're going to get into that. So anyway, any more input on this one? I mean, how do you feel about it?
Gary, if I can make a point.
Crappy.
It's not the direction that we're looking at going in. Let me give you a little bit of background here. I mean, I've lived here for 25 years myself. And Winchester is essentially a clean slate for the most part. We've got about 40 square miles that is not developed at present. So it's not going to be one direction. It's going to be a whole lot of different uses, a whole lot of different variety because we cover a vast area. There's a lot of differences in terrain, in the waterways that go through the town, the floodways, the lake obviously is part of it. The realignment of Highway 79 is going to have a huge impact on the valley as a whole. It's going to change the way traffic moves through town. We're mostly north-south right now. It's going to become a mostly east-west type of town. So we formed a map to help direct where this development will go over the years, I think, and give us a little bit of protection on paper anyway.
I think it does need protection.
To help decide our destinies, but it's not going to be just one thing. So don't think it's going to be just rural or just commercial or just any other thing.
Yeah, the die is cast for a lot of it.
To give you a little confidence, and Gary, I've known you for what, 20 years plus? through the city of Temecula and so forth, and I've known Walt at least, I think, as long. So these are both people who are working for your common good. Don't think of them as adversaries or as outsiders at all, really. They're here for our good. They're here to, I guess, amass our will, collective will, if you will.
It's herding cats sometimes, but it's fun.
Walt's family goes back
The guise asked because, and I'll get into that when we get into the general plan.
Walt's family goes back in the history of Winchester to before 1920, to give you an example.
Okay, let's move on. And again, I mentioned the general plan from 2003. We'll be looking at the land use element of that plan. That's on the map right there. I'll have it up on the screen, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in terms of what's already occurred out here. And it's kind of shocking to see what has happened. But that was when everything was developing like crazy, you know, in the 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Any feelings about who's not familiar with the 2003 general plan effort that went on? That was a very comprehensive county-wide effort that included this area. I think that was, I don't know, $35 million project. Unbelievable. And there's a section in the plan, the area plan for this particular Winchester area going up beyond 74. That's very comprehensive. I urge you to go in and look at it and see if those things are still relevant to you today, because we will go over some of those. Any comments here?
Is that plan available on the WMAC?
No, you can go to Riverside County and you can go to the planning department, TLMA, or the planning department, and there's a link to the general plan, land use map, and you can pull it up. I will tell you that we're going to try to get this presentation on the WMAC website too. A link to it, yeah, where you can download it. How extensive and comprehensive do you perceive, well, the level of public participation? You can see how extensive it is. We've reached out to everybody. We try to do direct mails. We do emails. I'm trying to get as many people here as we can, because I think it's important for you to think about your future. If you don't think about it, somebody else is going to think about it. And it may not be the way you want to think about it.
They're going to do the thinking for you.
Well, and they have been.